Hi everyone, you're welcome back to another amazing tutorial where I'll be sharing with you how to make this lunchbox you see here. It is very simple, detailed and beginner friendly, and if this looks like what you really wish to learn, please watch this video till the end. So these are the fabrics I'll be using for this tutorial. Here I have my zipper, my chalk, and this black piece of fabric I'll be using for the main facing of the bag, but you can use whatever fabric you have to make the bag. And here I have the lining piece and a medium-sized wadding that will be used to pad the bag I'm going to be making in today's tutorial. So now I'm going to go ahead to cut out my fabric. For the fabric, you're going to go ahead to cut out two rectangular pieces of fabric like this, and when cutting, you'll be cutting both your main fabric, your pad and the lining. And for this piece of fabric I have here, the width is 10 inch while the length is 24 inch. So I went ahead to cut out 10 inch by 24 inch. This depends on the size and how big you want the bag to be. While for the second piece of fabric I have here, this one is smaller. The height of this one is 8 inch while the length is 26 inch. So here I went ahead to cut out 8 inch by 26 inch. So now I'm going to go ahead to join the piece together. The next thing you're going to go ahead to do is to go over to your sewing machine and join the three pieces together. So here I have my main fabric, the pad, and also my lining piece. So I'll go over to my sewing machine and stitch it all the way around, and I'll be doing the same thing for the other piece of fabric too. So after joining them together, this is what I have. I went ahead to create this design on it because I don't want it to be plain like this other piece here. And I'm going to be sharing with you how I made the design using this other piece I have here. So the first thing I went ahead to do was to draw vertical lines on my fabric, and I used this part of my ruler. So the width of this part of the ruler is 1.5 inch, and I used it to draw the lines. So I'm going to go ahead to start drawing slant vertical lines like you see me doing in the video. So once I'm done with this part, I'm going to go ahead to repeat the same thing on this other side also. I'll go ahead to draw slant vertical lines like you see me doing in the video. So once I'm done drawing the lines, the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do is to move over to my sewing machine, and I will stitch on all the lines I have drawn on the piece of fabric. So after stitching, this is what the good face is going to look like. This is what you should have once you're done stitching. Now we are going to move over to the next phase of the bag making. So for the next stitch, you're going to go ahead to pick the piece of fabric that is 10 inch by 24 inch. That is the bigger one. You're going to go ahead to pick it up, and the first thing we're going to go ahead to do now is to fix our zipper. And to do that, I'm going to go ahead to mark 1.5 inch from the top like this. I'll mark the 1.5 inch all the way, then I'll go ahead to connect the point together with a straight line. So after connecting it, the next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to cut this part open like you see me doing in the video. So next I'm going to go ahead to fix my zipper on this part. So I'll place the zipper like this, making sure the good face of the zipper is facing my fabric. Then I'll go ahead to stitch this part of the zipper on it. After doing that, I'll repeat the same thing on the other side also. I'll go ahead to stitch it on the other side also like this. Then I'll top stitch the zipper. Once I'm done doing that, I'll come back to show you what to do next. So after fixing the zipper, this is what we are going to be having. Once you are done fixing the zipper to the back, this is what you should have. So I went ahead to top stitch on both sides of the zipper to keep it in place and to make sure that that part lays flat on the inner part of the bag. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to cut off the excess zipper I have on this part. Then I'll go ahead to join the longer piece to this one I have here. So here I have the longer piece. The first thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to locate the midpoint of this bigger one, and I'll go ahead to notch it. So after notching, I'm going to go ahead to notch this part of the smaller piece, not the length, but this other part here, that is the height, which is 8 inch. I'll fold it into two like this, then I'll go ahead to notch it. After notching it, I'll place it on the bigger piece like this, making sure that the good face are facing each other and also the notch parts are meeting. Then I'll go over to my sewing machine and stitch the two pieces together. After stitching the two pieces together, this is what you're going to be having once you're done stitching. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to attach the handle to this part of the bag. And here I've gone ahead to make the handle, and the length of the handle I have here is 11 inch. And I went ahead to cut out 2 inch on fold, then I stitched it and turned it over to the good face, and I gave it a good press. And here I have 1.5 inch after stitching and turning it over. So for the handle, you're going to be going in by 3 inch from this part like this. You're going to go ahead to mark 3 inch like this. After marking the 3 inch, you go ahead to draw a straight horizontal line at the point you just marked like this. Next, you're going to go ahead to fix your handle at that point. So I'm going to go over to my sewing machine to stitch the handle on both parts like this. And when stitching, you're going to be stitching in form of a square on both parts. So you stitch it like a square on both parts. I'll go ahead to quickly do that. Then I'll come back to show you what to do next. After fixing the handle, this is what it is going to look like. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to sew the other sides to the back. So I'll go ahead to stitch this part of the bag to the longer piece. So I'll go ahead to pin it down like you see me doing in the video. So I'm going to be repeating the same thing on the other side also. So I'll also go ahead to stitch this other part like this. So I'll go ahead to quickly do this, then I'll come back to show you what to do next. So after I was done stitching both parts, this is what it is going to look like. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to stitch this other part. So I'll turn it over like this, and I'll go ahead to stitch this other part together like you see me doing in the video. I'll stitch it up to the top, and I'll be repeating the same thing also on the other side like this. So after stitching this part, I also go ahead to close up the upper part of the bag like you see me doing in the video. So I'll go over to my sewing machine to quickly do all this, then I'll be back to show you what it looks like. So this is what you're going to be having once you're done stitching the piece together. This is what you should have. So for the rough edges, I'm going to be using this piece of fabric to close up the rough edges on the inner part of the bag like this. So I'll place it, then I'll stitch it all the way around, and I'll be doing this later. So I'm going to go ahead to open up the bag for you to see what it looks like. So after turning the bag over to the good face, this is what you are going to be having. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead to quickly do now is to iron all the sides and also the seams so that I'll be able to achieve a box shape. So I'll go ahead to quickly do this, then I'll come back to show you the final look of the lunchbox. So after ironing the bag, this is what we have. This is what your lunchbox is going to look like. So if you find this video helpful, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and also share. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one.